Jim Farley, you've got an exciting announcement, $11.4 billion, 11,000 jobs in Kentucky and Tennessee. We've seen some of the video you produced from the drones. This is literally a greenfield operation. Tell us about that decision. It looks like as you move forward boldly into electric vehicles, you're sort of saying we're better off starting from scratch.
Well, we'll have mix, David. We're going to have a mix of converted facilities, but this is a big deal. The F-Series has been the best-selling vehicle for 40 years in the U.S. We're going to have a whole line of battery electric vehicles. The F-150 Lightning is completely sold out, and that really informed our thinking. These 3 battery plants, 1 in Tennessee, 2 in Kentucky, plus the assembly plant, is really going to change the game for Ford. It's show, not tell time, and it's a new Ford. These battery plants will allow us to produce 1 million vehicles worth of batteries per year. That's the scaling we're talking about. We needed a new site because we couldn't slow down with remediation with the brownfield site. And so that's why we picked this particular site. It's 6 miles. It's the largest facility we've ever built in our history of our company. We're the #1 auto manufacturer employer in America. So it is a big day and 11,000 new jobs.
Yeah, there's no question it's very big. And as we look at that video produced, it's really quite dramatic what you're building down there. Tell me about Kentucky and Tennessee. Is it a coincidence that those are right-to-work states?
We looked at a variety of factors. Building batteries and building battery electric vehicles is totally different than what we've been doing the last 118 years. Why? Energy cost is really important. The battery plants take 5 times the energy as an assembly plant. That means these battery plants use 15 times the energy of the manufacturing facility that builds a vehicle. So we need affordable energy. We need skilled labor. We need places that aren't susceptible to weather events like flooding or hurricanes. And we need a local government who wants this to happen. And we found in Tennessee and Kentucky leaders who welcome us, who are excited. They had developed the land way before we came calling. This site, the mega site here, Blue Oval City, was something that they set aside way before Ford came coming. Very few states do that, and that's one of the reasons why we came to Tennessee.
Jim, you must have talked to the UAW about this. How are they feeling about it?
I think they're really excited. The boat is lifting for all parties. There's 11,000 new jobs. We have a great relationship with the UAW. We always have. Now, the workers are going to decide how they want to be representative in all these 4 facilities, and we'll respect that. And we're really excited, though, if they're unionized and represented by the UAW. Ray Curry is going to be here today, the new leader of the UAW. But we'll see. It's the workers' choice.
Jim, in looking through your announcement, it's not just that you're going to be building electric vehicles, which really help a lot with greenhouse gas emissions, but your facilities in Kentucky and Tennessee, when they're fully up and running, I understand, will be 0 emissions, and not just for energy, but for things like water. Talk to us about how you're going to accomplish that.
This is one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough about battery electrics. It's just not just the tailpipe. We at Ford, we were the leader of integrated manufacturing at the Ruse. We introduced this moving assembly line at the Piquette plant where my grandfather worked. And this is a chance for us to redo, manufacturing in this country. This will be a neutral, carbon neutral site. We're going to use geothermal to power it. We're going to have 0 landfill, totally recycle water. It's our commitment far beyond the tailpipe emissions to go green. And it's the right company to do this. Ford should be innovating this way.
Jim, talk to us about margins. Once you get up and running and you're making these electric vehicles, particularly the Ford F-150, I will say the most popular vehicle in North America in 40-some years now, as I recall. What are the margins like? Because you made a fair amount of money off of those. I've seen some numbers that suggest it's more expensive to make electric vehicles.
You're absolutely right. We have a ton of work to do. As a company, we're targeting 8% global margin. As we go to 40 or 50% electric in the U.S., we have a huge job to do. But we have a great team. Doug Fields just came from Apple. We have team members who really know how to drive the cost. The real mindset shift for a company like Ford is to move off this job one mentality. We have to now look for mass simplification and mass cost reduction and integrating the supply chain like batteries and key electronic components inside Ford that we've never done before. And we need to do that after job one. So this is a complete mindset shift for the company. I describe it as like, our ice business is like skiing. This is going to be like snowboarding. We'll get down the mountain, but it's going to take a different skill set. And, we have a lot of work to do right now.
Jim, your job is to try to get into electric vehicles as fast and as efficient as you can, but you also have to be looking at the competition. There's something of a land rush right now. A lot of other people getting into this, including General Motors, including Tesla's already there. How do you see Ford as differentiating itself in its approach to electric vehicles from some of the others?
Well, first of all, we're not talking about aspirations, we're doing it. We're on sale and sold out with the Mach-E and the F-150 Lightning, and the E-Trans is coming just in a couple months. So we're a show company, not a tell company. Number two, we have iconic vehicles. We're betting on the good stuff. Electrified Mustangs, electrified F-Series, vans, are really emotional products. And we think that's going to be a big win. The other one is we're already doing large-scale over-the-air updates, which are really the big change for the customer experience in these digital products. We're up to almost 1 million OTAs now with the F-Series and the Mach-E, not just for our entertainment system, but for the whole car. We had a battery drain issue on the Mach-E. We were able to do an over-the-air update and solve that. I think we're really well positioned because of our iconic strategy, because of our commitment to an embedded system and a software-first experience for the customer. And I think we're a company of action. We may have come to this fight a little bit late, but we're already moving.
Jim, one of the fights that everyone's having right now, particularly employers, is with COVID-19, which doesn't seem to be going away with the Delta variant. There's a lot of struggle going on right now about back to office, how people bring people back to office, when they do, in what form, and also vaccine mandates. We have President Biden going out to Chicago tomorrow, actually, to urge employers to do that. Give us Ford's approach to this problem.
Right. Well, we think vaccines are absolutely critical for all of our employees. Our playbook has worked really well with our COVID, procedures in our plants, especially. We have very few COVID cases coming from Ford, but people bring in COVID from the outside world. We need high vaccination at Ford, and we want to do our part. The reality is that when it comes to our hourly workers, we have to work with our UAW partners. That's something that we collectively bargain, for example, and negotiate and discuss with them. It's great that the administration is so clear about this, and we're completely aligned in the company. There are very large populations at Ford that have to be vaccinated today, like all my team and our medical staff. And we're not going to stop there. We think it's a great, it's what's required for the moment. And we'll work with UAW and Ray to work this out, and all of our union partners around the world.
Jim, one of the byproducts of shutting down the economy and then bringing it back up because of COVID-19 is a real disruption in the labor market. We see a lot of accounts of people having difficult time hiring, even as the unemployment numbers remain elevated. Give us Ford's situation. Are you having problems hiring?
Yeah, we're growing. It's great to see. I think we're seeing the same problems that everyone else is. We have some absenteeism in the U.S. in certain facilities. Others are much better. The temporary hiring is hardest, for our parts system, our logistics, system. That's where we're really starting to, we have been feeling it for a while. But we've been managing this way for, more than a year already. So I think our team is very agile. They're flexible. We've been able to work around a lot of the constraints, but there's no doubt about it. That's why we came to Tennessee and Kentucky, because we see high numbers of skilled labor who wants to work at these kind of facilities, these kind of jobs. That's one of the reasons why we're making this announcement here.
So, Jim, finally, as we talk about these two dramatic announcements, one in Kentucky, one in Tennessee, looking to an EV future for Ford, what do you need or want from the government to help you get this transition made?
Well, a couple things. First of all, government's really key. The first thing is we want to make sure that they support customers in the transition to these electric vehicles. We've seen in Europe, countries like Germany and Netherlands and Norway, and in China, where the government has really helped customers transition to electric and zero-emission vehicles. We want that support, and we're optimistic that's going to get through these infrastructure bills. The other one is charging. At the beginning of the journey, like now in the first or second inning, people can charge mostly at their home. But as we get to 40 or 50% adoption, we're going to have a large move in charging, especially fast charging for retail customers, but also depot charging for commercial customers. Ford is 50% of the commercial light-duty market in the U.S. We need to move to depot charging infrastructure as well. We need the government's support. In places like Norway, where they're 50% electric, the government stepped in and made a big difference in the infrastructure. We're seeing that in California, but we need it across the country, and we need the government's help.